Hello and welcome this evening to Channel 36. And our show tonight is scary, Amendella Paranormal, right?
Yes.
And we're lucky to have them here tonight. Of course, we just had Halloween and ghost hunters. And I find that very intriguing, and that's why I wanted them on the show, so they could tell us all these interesting things and what they encounter, all about the ghosts and how they got into the business and everything. And on my left, I have Josh.
Yes.
Then I have Chad. And welcome to Channel 36.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure having you here. And I told him when he put this case down, I said, it's like you're getting ready to do operations. All of the equipment that they take with them and everything. And I think it's good to start out and ask them why they got into the business and their first experience with a ghost. Start off with you, Josh.
Okay, so I started in this because I was always really into the paranormal. I loved the TV shows. I didn't sleep a lot as a child. I just would stay up and watch TV. And in the 90s, all the TV shows are paranormal. They were all like the UK haunted and all that.
Right.
So I would watch TV, and there would be somebody walking through the hallway while I was watching TV, and my bedroom door was closed, and I know my mom was the same way, didn't sleep much. So I thought, oh, she's going to the bathroom, and it happened all the time, night after night, and I'd be watching TV. And one night she opened my door, and she's like, have you been walking back and forth to the bathroom? I said, no, I thought that was you. She looks at me, she's like, no. So we started figuring out, there was something else walking through the hallway. And I found it intriguing. I loved it.
Oh, yes.
And,
I would too.
I got older. My wife actually bought me some of our first little pieces of equipment and took me out to the Queen Mary for my birthday.
Oh, I've heard so many stories about the Queen Mary.
Yes, we love it. We know the guy that runs the tours on the ship.
Okay.
I actually talk back and forth with him often. And, she took me out. We did the investigation, and it was amazing. I loved it.
She's fascinated like you are with the business?
Actually, no. She's not much into this at all. And, but she knows I enjoy it. And because she knows I enjoy it, she wanted me to have that experience and be able to do it.
That's a great wife.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. All right.
And, I saw my first spirit when we were there. And it was me and a bunch of other people, because they do up to, like, groups of 30.
Right.
And me and another guy had seen somebody walking on one of the catwalks. And we were like, well, who's that? He was wearing a plaid shirt. He had a baseball cap on. We're like, well, there's nobody in the group that looked like that. So we walked back, and it's really, really dark in one of the areas. And we're like, okay, well, let's go along the catwalk and go find him. So we go up the catwalk. We have our flashlights. We look, and there's no catwalk. The catwalk has dropped off, and it's completely gone. And we're like, okay, well, how did he get there? Because there's no other way to the area he was sitting.
Wow.
So we go back, and we tell the person leading the investigation for the ship, and we're like, can we get everybody together? Because we want to see who it was.
Right.
So we do a head count. She gets everyone together. We're like, nobody matches the description. Nobody's wearing plaid. Nobody's even looks remotely like that. Nobody's wearing a baseball cap.
So, excuse me, you saw the exact figure? Like
we saw somebody walk from one end of the catwalk down across and behind something. And we legitimately thought it was another person.
Well, people say all the time they see things on the Queen Mary and everything.
And it was an amazing experience.
So that's how you got started in the business.
And I came back to work the week after because I had taken the week off for the vacation. And I was his boss.
Oh.
And I was like, you'll never believe what I've seen.
Yeah.
So.
That's it. Okay.
Yeah, so.
And Chad, tell me about the house again.
Okay, so...
He's in a haunted house, by the way.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So, like I said, he came back and he's like, oh, yeah, like we did this whole real thing, and he had a couple pieces of equipment, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. My house is haunted. And so I just was telling him the story of my mom had been grabbed in the ankle while sleeping one night.
Oh, my God.
I had been hit in the chest. And we didn't really think anything about it at the time. One of my aunt's friends was the psychic.
Okay.
And so I told her, like, oh, yeah, like, something that happened. I didn't want to tell her everything. I wanted to test her credibility. And so she goes, "Oh, you got hit, right?" And I'm like, "Oh." So yeah, you know, that was my exact like, "Oh." And she goes, "Yeah, there's a little boy and a little girl at your house." So she's like, "The little boy was jumping on your chest. He wanted to play with you." And I go, "Wow, really?" And so she said the little girl actually had grabbed my mom's foot because she was scared.
Okay, did they say where did they come from? I mean,
you know,
did they live there before?
Yeah,
or?
I have no idea. And then she also said there's like a male figure who's really mean and he yells at the kids and stuff like that. That's also there.
So how often does this happen in your house? He's still in this house. You're still in this house.
Yes.
But do you have any children?
Do I have children? No. It's me, my mother, and my little brother actually live there. It's 2 stories. You can actually hear walking upstairs, legit. Like, you know, everybody's like, "Oh, well, you could hear like, you know, the temperature changes and the floorboards creak, and you could hear distinct walking upstairs." I think we have a couple clips of it. I haven't seen anything, which is good. Thank goodness.
Have you gotten the equipment in there? Have you done
Yes,
anything
we actually
with
did
that?
a full.
Okay.
That was one of our first
him
investigations.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had told him, I'm like, "Yeah, my house, we should go do it." And so, you know, we weren't really getting anything, and so they had told me like, "Oh, there's something in your room, in your closet." Oh, so I go in my closet, and his wife actually jumps out, scared some crap out of him. And, you know, so we're all laughing and stuff like that, and then later on, actually on recording, we caught the little girl laughing also.
Yeah, so you hear like a younger girl giggling.
I know, you know
And
that, but
so-
how can you be? How old is the house?
Honestly, I don't know, but it's newer.
It's not that
like, yeah, we're not talking about like Victorian or maybe 80s at the latest.
I wonder what happened in that house before, because
I
they
don't
say
know.
usually things
Yeah.
happen in the house before.
Yeah, I'm kind of scared to look everything up. Like, I don't really want to know what, you know, it's more like it stays over there with it, and, you know,
How does
there's
your mother
us and there's
feel
that.
about it, though? I mean,
She
doesn't
knows. She
she
just kind of...
worry or
No,
frightened?
not necessarily. At first, it was kind of freaky, but, I mean, like I said, that was the only thing that had happened.
How is she when she stays alone in the house when you're not there? That's what would frighten me.
Well, I mean, you just leave all the lights on. It's pretty much, and there's nothing you can really.
Okay, but
But I mean, it's not as severe as some people have. You know what I mean? What we tell people, like when we do their houses, is you got to take control of your house. You know what I mean? You got to let them know that this is mine, and you know, we did sage the house, and you know, like I said, we made it clear that, you know, this is our house. You're not necessarily not welcome, but, you know, just leave us alone, and you guys can pretty much do it. And it's been quiet for
okay.
Yeah.
For a
So you
while,
feel like
yeah.
if you're strong and you take control,
Exactly.
the strength they feel and they stay
Yeah,
away.
exactly. Mm-hmm.
It's the weakness that they go
Exactly.
into, right? People
But
that
I mean,
are weak.
like you know, I had said earlier, it's they're still people. They just don't have bodies. They're spirits. They're still there.
and they're
in
trying to
spirit.
come back somehow.
And I mean, sometimes they're just
Or
trying
they
to.
used to live there,
Yeah.
you know, and they're like, "This is my house," and you have to make it clear that, you know, like, no, like, you've passed on. This is my house
This is
now.
ours now. Yeah.
Okay, so that's how both of you got into the business. strong part.
Exactly. Yeah, we started it that way, and you know, we were joking back and forth after, and we were like, "Yeah, we're
Interesting.
smash our last names together," you know.
So his
It's
last
like
name's
grew.
Eamon. My last name's Gardella.
I know, good
So
idea.
we just
Amendella
smashed them together.
Paranormal,
And,
that's
Yeah.
great. Oh, well, before we went on the air, we were talking about Palmdale.
Yes.
They just did that on Halloween night. Spooky Palmdale.
Yeah, this video will be
Let's
up
talk
in a
about that a
couple
little
weeks.
bit. That's
Yeah,
interesting.
so I
the
mean-
hospital. Tell us about the
yeah.
hospital.
So it's
okay?
it's rumored to be either an asylum or a tuberculosis hospital.
Mhm.
Okay.
It's out in the middle of nowhere. There's no roads to it.
Literally
There's no
nowhere.
address.
Yes.
We've done so much research looking into, you know, the Palmdale area, and we can't find anything on the building.
And tell us when you said you were driving up towards the building.
Yeah, so, I mean, like I said, it's real eerie. It's just dirt road, and then you go like a really tight bend, and then you turn, and there's like a couple bushes, and then all of a sudden it's there.
And what does it look like, the building? Just
it actually?
Have some photos or
eerie,
something,
like
yeah.
kind of.
It's really it does
desolate.
send chills down your spine. You know, it's
What
really,
a place to have something like that all the way out, right?
Exactly, and
Oh,
it's
yeah.
more. I mean, it's like I said, I live in Palmdale, so it's like a legend between Palmdale,
Ah.
but no one else really knows about it. You know,
So
it's
what
nothing
did you
that-
do exactly? Tell me how
So
you.
we go
what
and we
you
do
saw.
the investigations, and we do what we call a tag along. You know, and people, you know, they sign up on our site and they come out with us on these investigations. And
I want to go.
we would be glad to take you anytime you want.
Okay.
let
If you
us
can
know.
handle it. If
Okay,
you can handle
if
it.
I can handle it, I don't know. I sound brave,
Yeah.
don't I? But I don't know.
But like
Yeah.
I said, we
Tell
do
us
places from Palmdale all the way out here to Pasadena, you know,
Right.
Claremont. We have a place in Sylmar we
Mhm.
do. So I mean, we do a
Sylmar.
wide range of areas.
Oh, okay.
And we told you, we filmed there with BuzzFeed.
Yeah, they
in
said
October.
they did a show with Busby.
Yeah, and they have
Gary Busby and
Yeah, and there's 2 videos up on BuzzFeed right now, and
Okay.
it's of the asylum. We took them there for the
Oh, yeah, we scared
investigation.
pretty good out there.
Yeah,
Okay.
and we have we did Halloween out there as well,
Okay.
and we had some great tag-alongs come. It was their 3rd time out with us, and they've been
How did they
completely
handle
hooked.
it?
Oh, they did
They
great.
love it.
They did
That's
great.
was
The one guy, he's super into all of this. He drags his girlfriend
Yeah, it's
through
like
it all
really
with him.
gung-ho.
You did-
Yeah,
hey,
that's-
come on,
It's
that's
a
my
really
date. I want
It's a
you to
really
come
funny
right
couple, yeah.
Exactly, and it's great. It's wonderful to watch such enthusiasm in something that we enjoy so much.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and he got into it. He sat down in one of the rooms, and we left him with a camera and a walkie-talkie, and he
How-
sat there and did an isolation
How
How
session.
exciting!
So yeah, and he loved it.
And that's what makes us satisfaction, you know, is that it's actually some people enjoy it, you know.
So
what I
you
mean?
call
So
them
what we do,
tag-alongs.
Yeah, we call it a tag
and
along.
they
Yeah.
pay how much to take along?
So Halloween was a big event. It was $20.
Okay.
This is
Normal
like-
events are about 10.
$10.
So and
Nothing too bad. And
Well,
I mean,
what,
we
10
give you
per
all
hour?
the equipment.
no, just
No,
10
just for the whole night.
10 for the whole night.
Wow.
Yeah.
And we give you all the
'Cause-
equipment you need, and it's fun. It's really fun experience. You know,
Oh,
we've had
my goodness, yeah.
And
so
it's-
far nothing but good comments.
So if
and-
anyone wants to do it,
Please.
it's Amendella Paranormal.
Yeah.
You can sign up
Have
on our
a
website.
spooky night.
Exactly.
Yeah, invite your girl. Honey,
Yeah,
I want to
there you
give
go.
you a different date tonight.
Yeah.
Exactly,
And
yeah.
it's,
Let's do
it's
something
year round
unique,
also.
right?
Yeah, we do this
Yeah.
year round.
So it's not just around
a
Halloween,
limited
it's-
time. And,
You should
know,
be on the dating sites.
right?
We should.
We
You
could.
should have something
I
on
think he was
there.
actually telling me there is a
Yeah,
dating
there
site
there
out
is a
that's-
dating site that's like paranormal dating or
Yeah.
something. Where,
Really?
you know, like they're interested in the
Yeah, they beat us
paranormal.
to it.
Ah,
So yeah,
I've
but
heard of that.
there's like I said, we do this all year long.
What,
And
excuse me, tell me though, but you said you saw when you were out in Palmdale
Yeah.
by the hospital,
mhm.
you saw actual figures in the road. Remember you were telling me?
we've seen
That
things
was in
going
Palmdale.
back
That
and
was
forth.
in Claremont.
Oh, that was
Yeah.
Claremont.
That was
Sorry.
Claremont.
Okay.
Claremont is one of our spookiest. We've heard audible screams. We've heard a get out, help, and this is all hearing it without any equipment or anything like that. We've seen shadows. We have a device called what is it called? Laser grid. Sorry, I
grid.
went blank for a minute. And it's just
That's
a bunch
the
of
stuff right
lights, and if anything were to pass through
What
it,
is that, Lisa?
This-
So
It's called a
this is a
laser
laser
grid.
grid. What it does is it takes one laser beam, separates it into a lot of like little dots. So as you can see on the floor, it makes all these little dots, and
Beautiful looking.
it makes
Okay,
like
what
a
is-
grid.
Yeah.
So basically, we set it up on a tripod,
okay.
and if something walks through the grid, we can see something
It'll
moving
be a
through
shadow.
the grid because it
And we've
creates.
actually had-
it creates some kind of a movement.
well,
in
it
the
blocks
grid.
the lights technically.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you
And
see
we've
the
actually
movement.
had something run back and forth a couple
Okay.
times.
That's only one of all your tools here.
Yeah, this is
Yes.
just
What?
one.
What is that?
That's a speaker, and it's actually hooked up right now to our iPad that I brought over with us.
Okay,
And
okay.
this has some of the audio clips that I was telling you guys about earlier. I can see if I can. This one is from one of our recent ones, actually in Pasadena
Uh-huh.
at Suicide Bridge that we were telling you about.
Suicide Bridge.
So you hear there's a small female voice there in the beginning.
Yeah, there were no women
Yeah.
with us. Claire saying over here.
Here,
Did you hear that?
Yeah.
That was behind us.
So that's spirit.
oh my goodness.
And that was, like it said, that was loud enough for us to hear.
Mhm.
Wow.
Well, for me to hear.
Yeah, so he's even, and this happens constantly. This is something that it's like a telltale, We're like, "Oh, Chad heard something. Rewind, let's find what he heard." And he does it constantly. It's every single time. It's on the dot. He always hears something.
You see, people say, Oh, I don't believe in ghosts. There's no such thing as ghosts, but there are ghosts.
Yeah,
well, I mean, like I said,
Folks,
we
there
did the video.
are ghosts. Even you don't want to believe it, but there's such things. Not that everyone could come back, but
Exactly.
you know.
So, and we get clips like this all the time on our investigations. We get, we have one picture, I think, that, I'm not sure if I have it right now. I don't know if I sent that one over to you.
But they have all these flashlights where they give when they tag along. All
Exactly.
these different type of flashlights and everything.
Yeah, because, I mean, like I said, it's a service and you're paying for it. We want you guys to feel safe and secure, you know.
Right. And
So-
what is this? You told me this.
So this is an EMF detector. What it does is it reads electromagnetic fields produced by your cell phones, appliances, and the lights on it will, you know, go up and whatnot. And, you know, just as an example, you know, you see, like, it reads my cell phone.
Right.
And this is actually why
It
they
picks
tell
up
us.
on that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is why they actually tell us not to put our cell phones to our heads so much.
With all that radiation.
Exactly.
It's loaded, isn't it?
Exactly. So, but what we do is we run through the location and
You know.
we try to make sure that we go through everything, you know,
Okay.
and we say, okay, well, this is a natural cause, this is natural cause. So later on when we're doing the investigation, we can say, you know, can you touch the meter? Can you talk to us? You know, can you touch it for yes? And then we can get a hit and say, okay, this is paranormal because we've already gone through the whole room, gone through the whole area, and we know where it's going to spike in the room because of natural, you know, occurrences.
I did ask him, I said, honestly, tell me, are you really scared? Honestly, or do you go in and say, no, I'm not a bit scared, Josh?
I'm honestly not afraid of any of this. I have never had a situation where I'm like, okay, we need to go. I'm usually the one that's like, okay, well, you're scared, but I'm going to go find it. I
How do you
love
feel?
this stuff.
Jack?
It really does scare me. Because, I mean, like I said, I'm the one that gets touched and I'm the one that it talks to and stuff like that. But, I mean, it's not over, I don't know how you would say it. I mean, it's not like it's scary. It's more like there's something there and you can't see it. So it's more anxiety, I guess you could say, right? More than
Anxiety
scary. Yeah,
of the unknown.
yeah, pretty much.
Because the unknown does intrigue people,
Yeah.
Exactly.
right? And I did ask them before we went on tonight, I said, I hear stories about, well, if you are in the business and you work with ghosts, it's good to use, a lot of people use holy water. And some people don't because sometimes the ghost, you could carry the ghost with you when you go. So I brought some holy water along with them tonight. I said, do you want to use it? Do you ever use it? And they said, no.
No, we-
I've
No.
never used
But
holy
you
water.
mentioned sage.
Sage, yes.
Tell them
We
about
do
the
sage,
sage.
yes.
Yes, so sometimes we do use white sage and you burn
White.
it.
Why white? Like
Uh,
I have sage and I burn it as an
right.
incense. But
Right.
Why white?
Most people say that the white sage is the one that you're supposed to use for cleansing, for, you know, the paranormal
Oh, I
or
just
for
learned something
dark
new.
energy or so we have white sage. And honestly, like I said before, we don't use it on every investigation. Usually we use it for the tag-alongs, you know, because it does give that like placebo effect.
Right.
You know, where
right.
it makes them feel better. They can go home and sleep soundly.
Right. I
You know?
understand.
So we don't honestly believe that it is cleansing us. You know, I don't feel personally like it cleanses me and makes me, you know, push away the spirits.
Yeah, but the Indians used to use sage for that years ago. They
Exactly.
used the sage because it's supposed to keep the witch doctors, evil spirits away and cleanse everything.
And
And take
sage does
negativity
cleanse.
out of the rooms.
Definitely.
Right?
Yeah, exactly, and sage does cleanse. So that's why people get that feeling of, you know, like it's a lighter environment. Sage cleanses smell. So if you burn it and you open a window and you cleanse the whole house and you smoke the whole house up with sage, it does cleanse odors from your home.
It does, but it also smells like weed.
It does. It
Some people
does.
think you're smoking weed in the place. I know.
Yeah.
But when I purchased sage, I have never seen white, not on a sign, on a
actually
label,
believe
just
I have a little
sage.
bit here.
Just
In our weed bag.
Yeah, in our
Does
little
it
tiny
look-
bag that looks like we're, you know, trying to distribute.
okay. What?
So this is just,
Oh, I need to put my glasses on.
yeah,
okay.
that's just a little
This
bit
is-
of it. That's about a $20 on the black market.
Yeah,
for
it's
your weed.
white because the other's darker. There's a.
Exactly, and it's very strong smell, and it's just dried white sage.
It's just right. Oh, that's good. I have to get some. I have some sage at home, but it's darker, not the white.
Right. But yeah, it's just, and like I said, we burn it, and it smells. I think it doesn't smell that bad.
I love the smell of it.
Yeah, it's got quite a nice smell to it.
It's a nice, clean, cleansing, but I like incense. I burn incense.
Yeah.
What is the most intriguing job you've been on since you've been doing this? The most interesting.
Honestly, I'd say some of the best places it's probably EV Canyon in Claremont. I mean, that's where I was able to see an actual person. Like I was saying earlier, I had walked through, back to the trail, and we could hear women talking. So we're like, okay, there's some hikers coming up the trail because it's, EV Canyon has now turned into a hiking trail. And back in the day, it was rumored to have been, gold mining area where the miners had gone through and massacred the Indians that lived on the land. And there's a lot of deaths up there, from canyon racers to bicyclists that have been hit. There was a ghost bike up there for a while.
Right.
And so I walked back towards the trail, and through the bushes and the trees and everything, I could see a girl. And I'm like, okay, there's some young kids that came up the trail, they're hiking in the middle of the night, whatever. And I could see, she was white. She had long brown hair. It looked like she was in like a Letterman's jacket because it was real kind of like big and puffy, and you could tell like she was slender on bottom. So it, gave that effect of the Letterman's jacket. And it looked like she was in jeans, so I was like, I could see enough detail to where I'm like, okay, there's somebody standing there. So I went around to the trail, and I screamed back to everybody. I'm like, there's nobody here. And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, I saw a girl clearly when I was walking through here. I said, but there's nobody here. And I walked the whole way back down the trail, all the way to where we park. And I'm like, there's no cars here, that aren't our cars. I'm like, and there's no other place they could have gone to. So, at that point, we're like, okay, well, we have to realize that may have been paranormal. I may have seen someone that, isn't with us physically.
You see, what I was saying, on television, I'm not mentioning any shows at all, but you just see something like the lines. You never see the real figure, hardly. And that's why I asked him, have you seen real figures there?
They're hard to catch. They're really hard
they
to
are.
catch.
On camera,
we tape everything. We don't have anything but one picture of something that might be. I mean, we have seen it with your eyes. The main thing is you'll be walking with a camera and you're like, what was that? Bam, there it is. Well, you can't get the camera over there fast enough.
Yeah, the camera's here and you're looking over here.
Yeah. It's always out of the corner most of the time.
Do you have any people? They say there are a lot of haunted houses up in the hills. Do you know of any up there or anything?
Honestly,
we haven't done any yet, but we want to.
Yeah. So, I mean, we've had people that have called us and they're like, my house is haunted. And we've done a few little ones here and there. All the cases we've done thus far, it's natural causes. It's not that their house is haunted. It's that, they have a low wood ceiling and they think they hear footsteps, and what it is it's the temperature rising and dropping and causing the wood to expand. And the popping noises turn into what sounds like a footstep.
Right,
And when it does it one after another, it does create that illusion of somebody's walking.
So they think that's... Well, how about, you just told me about that woman with a table or something?
Exactly. It was high EMF fields causing her to hallucinate.
Oh, my God.
And because the house was so old and it was built back in like 56, all the wiring wasn't covered properly. And when wiring gets old, it stretches out. So that's what people hear.
I think we all hear sounds sometimes, and we all think of ghosts.
Exactly.
We never think of
it is mostly,
wiring.
Your mind also playing tricks.
Exactly.
Right, the mind does.
Think you hear something. Well, I think I heard something.
Yeah, and about 90% of homes, that are claimed to be haunted, it's natural causes.
But that's not to say, it is or it isn't.
What's the rest of this stuff here?
So
what is all of this?
A lot of this is wires for some of the equipment for when we plug it into charge or when we plug a speaker into something.
Okay. And then you showed me another white piece of equipment.
Yes, these are motion lights.
Motion lights.
So
you call them motion
these
lights.
are your everyday motion light that people put up, and they put it up like hanging it in a closet or something.
Right.
And it's so when you walk in, it catches that you've walked in and it turns on. What we do is we set them up on like the floor somewhere, and we'll put them in like a doorway. And we're like, okay, so nobody should walk through this doorway, you know, so they don't set off the light. And we're put it there, and we'll put a camera on it, or we'll be in the room and we'll set a few up in the doorways, and we'll wait and see if, you know, something walks by and turns on the light.
Which it could be a rat, like you said,
exactly.
too.
And
You
I
never
mean,
know,
it could be anything. So.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's why we film everything, so that we can say, okay, well, we saw the light go on, but you know, we're in pitch black.
Right.
You know,
right.
It doesn't look like that because we have IR lights on, and it's all night vision on the cameras. So people see, you know, what we can't visually see.
Right.
You know, and that's why we have flashlights, and people don't realize.
You have all that. You have another case. What's in that other case?
Yeah, and the other case is actually some of the cameras. And I actually brought in an IR light so you guys can kind of get an idea of what it is and what it does. So this is an IR light, and this is just one of our smaller ones.
What is that called again? An IR light?
IR. So it's infrared.
Okay.
And what it is, all these lights produce a light source that we can't visually see with our eyes.
Okay.
And the only thing we would see is this would glow slightly red.
And what does that do?
This is what creates the night vision that our cameras can see.
Okay.
So, and the cameras, you know, view everything in night vision. So that we're in pitch black, but, you know, we can still see everything that's going on and see all of what's around us in the camera.
Especially like going to that hospital at night.
Exactly. So, I mean, these are just a few of the cameras.
Just the dark alone, I think, really scares me like most people. You know, darkness like that with nothing around.
Exactly. And these are some of the cameras we use that are, you know, night vision capable. So, and they also have like their own little IR lights on them, but we have to use external IRs that plug into battery packs so that we have that extra output for some of the areas that are bigger.
Carry all this equipment.
Yeah, and they're usually on a tripod, you know, and
Right.
we have brackets that come up and, you know, put the lights on and all that, and it's all strapped on. And
you sleep peacefully at night.
I do.
Sometimes.
Sometimes. Now I want to ask you, a good place to go, I think. Now, I heard about this. Tell me. There used to be a sanitarium downtown. They closed it. They released people years and years and years ago, but they say it's haunted. Some sort of like hospital or sanitarium or something like that. Do you know of that?
I think I know what you might be talking about. I think you're talking about, it's in LA, right?
Yes, it's in LA.
I think you're talking about Linda Vista.
The jail?
No, I think she's
No,
talking
not the
about
jail.
Linda.
Oh, Linda Vista Hospital.
Yeah, I
It was
think
a
you're
mental place.
Yeah, I think you're talking about Linda Vista Hospital.
Now closed down.
Have
It's
you
closed
ever,
down, and
right,
it
right.
is now an old folks home.
Yes.
Oh, it's an old folks
Yes.
home.
So
Those
what
poor
happened?
people.
Oh, I
Poor
thought it was
people.
empty. Then forget that. You can't go there.
Right. So what happened is, you know, they turned it into an old folks home, and which is horrible, by the way, because you're putting all these poor people into a haunted location.
And they're gonna be like, "Oh, I'm hearing something." No, you're just old. You're crazy.
That's
You're
terrible,
crazy.
terrible.
So I mean,
you know,
that's
our time
horrible.
is running really out. It's been fascinating. I mean, I could talk forever with you
Yeah,
with the
exactly.
stories and
Oh, yeah.
everything like
Yeah, we
that.
love
But
to see you.
when I called him up and I said, "Oh, I hope he says yes. I hope he's going to be on the show because I want to find out everything about this." But I would like to tag along sometime.
Yeah, we'd love to
Love
take
have
you.
you.
Give
Yeah.
you a call. I want that experience and see
Yeah.
whether I could take it.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Our next date is November 14th. We're doing a cemetery in Sylmar.
Oh, a cemetery. I don't know about a cemetery. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
It was
Appreciate
wonderful having you. It's great. Thank you, Julie. Thank you, Raul. Yvette, thank you so much. The crew, it's wonderful. And cemetery, maybe I will be going. Thank you very much,
I
John.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.